The White House, of course, has leapt to the forefront of people's concern this morning, and there is a plane circling the White House at the moment, and they're clearing the grounds there. That's a report which may be misleading in that it may presume an attack, whereas we just discovered a moment ago that what we had with an additional airplane in New York airspace was a security operation. I think probably most Americans know that there is no building in the country which has heavily defended, I shouldn't say deemed secure, but a battery of anti-aircraft missiles on the top of the White House itself.
HSID is coming out. Can I help you?
Latest report, aircraft VFR 6 miles southeast of the White House.
6 miles southeast of the White House?
Yep, east. He's moving away?
Southeast of the White House?
Aircraft is moving away.
Moving away from the White House?
Yeah.
Okay, but what, he was a DVFR?
We believe we just know it's a VFR aircraft. We're not sure who it is. If you want to hold on a second.
Okay, copy.
There are people down there looking.
Okay, copy.
Where was that position? 6 southwest. 6 southwest of the White House, deviating away.
Deviating away. You don't have a type aircraft, so you don't know who he is.
Nothing. We're in Boston, so I have no clue. Hopefully someone in Washington would have a better information for you.
We caught on the radar scope a few blips, maybe 7 or 8, just enough to kind of go around in a half circle and then fade right over, losing radar contact right over Washington. I said, my God, what is that? 7 or 8, just enough to kind of go around in a half circle and then fade right over, losing radar contact right over Washington.
And that's when we kind of noticed that there was a plane coming out of the east sky. And normally planes would be coming north and south, but this plane was coming out of the east. It kind of made a circle over the river, headed back north, and as it went down right past National Airport. Kind of almost looked like it was approaching for a landing, but then we saw black smoke.
W powietrzu znajdowało się ponad 4000 samolotów i każdy z nich mógł być narzędziem ataku.
Every airliner in the air across America was ordered to land at the nearest airport. A plane crashed in Pittsburgh.
To underline reality. These are pictures coming in as I speak, correctly from just outside the White House. Of course.
A little bit on now to one of the eeriest moments amid the carnage of 9/11. A mysterious plane was seen flying right over the president's residence. Even some CNN staffers saw it. To this day, it has never been officially explained. Tonight, Chief National Correspondent John King has new details about this great 9/11 mystery.
Today, 6 years after 9/11, a mystery endures about just what happened in the skies over the White House that terrible day. A plane flew right over it. But why? And what was Secret Service warnings of another plane still on course for Washington? It appeared overhead just before 10 a.m. It appeared overhead just before 10 a.m.
Been evacuated as well. CNN's John King joins us on the phone. John.
Aaron, I'm standing in Lafayette Park directly across from the White House, perhaps about 200 yards from the White House residence itself. The Secret Service has pushed most people all the way back to the other side of the park, trying to avoid having that done to me at the moment. Just moments ago, they started slowly evacuating the White House about 30 minutes ago, and then in the last 5 minutes, people have come running out of the White House and the old executive office building, which is the office building right directly across from the White House. About 10 minutes ago, there was a white jet circling overhead. Now, you generally don't see planes in the area over the White House. That is restricted airspace. No reason to believe that this jet was there for any nefarious purposes, but the Secret Service was very concerned, pointing up at the jet in the sky.
Capitol Hill. Kate, what can you tell us about the events there?
Well, I'm a couple of blocks away from the Capitol right now. I can tell you that about a half hour ago, the Capitol building itself was evacuated. It was a little bit chaotic. Everyone was running out of the building. People ran a couple of blocks away. We have now been pushed back by security. We're within 2 blocks of the Capitol. I did see myself a plane about a half hour ago circling over the Capitol. Now, whether that may have been an Air Force, a U.S. plane, it's unclear. But that seemed to be the reason, according to security guards that I talked with, for the evacuation of the Capitol. They had seen something or heard something suspicious. They've evacuated the Capitol and the surrounding buildings.
Get off the grounds, right? Off the grounds. Off the grounds. Explosion at the Pentagon. Tell me now. Explosion at the Pentagon.
This response, but even the White House chef, who just days ago was preparing a lovely state dinner for President Fox of Mexico, I saw him and I tried to speak to him, and frankly, Peter, he was too rattled. He said he couldn't speak, and he was with his staff, and they were all very anxious and very worried because, of course, they did know what's going on in the country today.
Many thanks, Rebecca Cooper. And if you just see that picture that was going by as Rebecca was talking, you get a real sense of what the urgency was in the White House. First of all, the White House police came walking out, and then people began to run out of the White House. In and of itself, astonishingly astonishing, because we live with the notion that if there is any place in the United States which is fiercely protected, including an anti-aircraft battery, at least one on the roof of the White House. And then people began to run out of the White House. In and of itself, astonishingly astonishing. And then people began to run out of the White House. In and of itself, astonishingly astonishing. In and of itself, astonishing. In and of itself, astonishing. In and of itself,
offices, and at some point they may have them up and running, but right now there's very little information as have them up and running, but right now there's very little information about
in and of itself,
offices, and at some point they may have them up and running, but right now there's very little information as have them up and running, but right now there's very little information about
Sources familiar with the incident tell CNN it was a military aircraft and say the details are classified. Sources familiar with the incident tell CNN it was a military aircraft and say the details are classified.